Hello, everybody. Welcome to the G.Gurus podcast. My name is Jimmy, and Josh is not here again, so I get to do the intro. Hooray. So, we have Jesse, one of our mains.
Yep.
We have Jordan.
Yeah,
Say
sorry
hello.
about that.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm here. Calm down.
And we have our special guest today.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Very special guest. I'm honestly honored to have you on the podcast, by the way, Rue.
Oh, well, thank you very much for having me, all you guys. It's just sounds like a ton of fun. And from what I've talked to before with Jesse and Jimmy before, you guys are really great. So I'll just have to assume that Jordan's an okay guy, for now. But
Okay, put a good impression on Jordan. Okay, let's get started. Today's
All right.
topic, RPGs, anything related to RPGs. I love all RPGs. Let's get started on RPGs. Let's talk about them.
Yes.
So, my personal favorite RPG would have to be either Tales of Fantasia or Super Mario RPG. Both completely different gameplay styles, as in Tales of Fantasia having a side-scrolling action type fighting battle system, while Super Mario RPG has its very generic yet interesting at the same time fighting system. It's almost as the same as any other RPG, but it's still a great game nonetheless. Both stories are fantastic, and actually,
well, Super Mario RPG though does have the kind of the little twist of action, like with the timing of attacks and some rudimentary platforming as well. So it's like it is kind of like the classic JRPG, but with a little bit of a few twists on it, which I really enjoy. I think that's one thing that makes it stand out in a lot of people's minds.
And if I were to say one thing, JRPGs are my favorite type of RPGs. There's not been anything that's been better.
I have if comparing them to the more Western style like Baldur's Gate, or if you go way back like Ultima or Wizardry, I grew up more with the JRPGs and I enjoy them more. I wish I had more time to play them nowadays. I think I was telling you just yesterday about how I picked up Xenoblade Chronicles and Last Story and Persona 4 recently because I'd never played that. But, just these games, I keep hearing so much about how great they are. And I'm like, okay, I got to get them before you can't find them anymore, except for like $300 on eBay. But now I just need to find the time to play them. That's the one downfall of RPGs for me, is that they really do take quite an investment. And you can't take too much time away in the middle of them. Otherwise, you'll completely forget where you are. That's kind of what happened to me with Final Fantasy 12. I'm about halfway through it, and I'm afraid to pick it back up because I don't know where I am.
I'm gonna have so much trouble when I get back to Xenoblade. Oh god. I'm gonna get back to it. I haven't played it in like 3 months. Oh god.
I started playing that, and then I just got sidetracked by so many different things, and I'm just going to have to replay it because I only got really an hour in, so, I just have to start from the beginning again.
Now,
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wait, you have a copy of the game, Jimmy?
Yeah, I got it I got it a few days after launch because I was in Boston.
Oh, that's awesome. How do you like it so far?
What should I expect from it?
Really only got about an hour in, but I think it looks cool. I liked I just like how big the world seems, and I'm excited to explore it more.
So. Oh, the world is huge, and the fighting battle system is awesome. In my opinion, it reminds me a lot of Hyperdimension Neptunia for the PlayStation 3. More recently, the second one that came out, which is way better than the first one. Don't even mention the first one. The first one is terrible. Don't even play it.
The first one is pretty bad. I'll have to admit. I was the stupid noob that went out to EB Games and bought the first one, thinking, oh, there's probably a good story to this.
And there actually is a good story to the games. And the second one, it just is awesome. The second one is awesome. My brother bought it, and let's just say it's the story is very interesting. It's based on the gaming industry, pretty much. It's like official a firmware, like not hacked, against custom firmware. Like it's really cool how you're basically fighting against pirates, video game pirates. The world itself is called gaming industry.
That's kind of bizarre and awesome at the same time.
And
Breaking the third wall.
NIS America had tons of involvement in this, naming a character Nisa, as in Nippon Ichi Software America, named a character Nisa. And the character is a girl that looks like Laharl from Disgaea.
Huh.
It puts out so many references, it's not even funny.
So let me ask you guys, have you any of you played the Persona series at all?
I played a little.
Okay.
I want to play it.
I've
I wanna
heard
play
good
it,
things
I've never
about it.
gotten
I've
into it.
never played them.
Okay, you guys are talking at the same time. Talk
Yeah, okay.
separately.
Jimmy, go first.
All right, I've never played them, but I've heard good things about them. So
Yeah, same with me. I for quite a while, I've been hearing a lot about Persona. Is Persona 4 especially like Persona 4? Oh man, it's like one of the greatest RPGs of all time. And I was listening to one of the guys. Do you guys ever read Kotaku?
Yes, I do.
Jason Schreier. He does the kind of JRPG weekly article over there, amongst other things. But I kind of followed him from when he used to do that on Joystick, and he talks a lot about Persona 4, and I think he did a podcast not too long ago talking about it as well. I was like, oh, okay, fine, I'll finally pick this thing up. So I'm really kind of curious to see how it's gonna go, and hopefully I don't need to know anything about Persona 1 through 3 to know anything about it. Maybe it's like Final Fantasy in that way. I'm not sure.
See, the thing is, with Hyperdimension Neptunia, it tortures you because the second game takes place right after the events of the first game.
Oh, it's one of those. I see.
And no one likes the first game.
Well, the first game's gameplay was just horrible. I'm not even joking. It was bad. I mean, it's your basic dungeon crawler, really. In any case, honestly, in my opinion,
Super
it's
simple.
just yeah. Well, I only played like half an hour or something, and I mean, I got to like the first like overworld part, I guess you could call it, where you select your stage. I guess is kind of like, but it's basically select your dungeon, go in, find the treasure, or kill the monster, get out, go to the next thing, repeat. And then at some point, I don't, like I said, I only got like half an hour in or something, so really I didn't do that much. But that's what it seemed like it was going towards. Is that like you'd go in your dungeon, you get the item, you kill the monster. Oh, sorry, no, it's get the item or kill the monster. It's either or, whichever one you want to do. And then you go out to the overworld, you buy your upgrades, buy your items, all that stuff, and go into the next dungeon. It was as simple as that, as what it looked to me, at least.
Yeah, but the second one is fantastic. Like, the gameplay is great. It's like Xenoblade Chronicles gameplay. And, also, another character that appears, like, in the very first mission is called Pirachu. Based on a Pikachu, but it's like...
I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
And several...
Now you got me interested, Jesse.
I see what you did there.
And several Pac-Man references are made. You fight enemies from Pac-Man.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that really just the ghosts?
Yeah, pretty much. You fight them.
That's kind of interesting.
This game has got me all sorts of interested. And Keiji Inafune himself is a weapon.
What?
I'm not even joking. He's a mega sword. It's called the Inafune Mega Sword.
Oh, that's top notch. That is wonderful.
That is pretty amazing, actually.
There's a video on YouTube. You should go watch it. It's hilarious.
Oh man, that's funny. Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say we can go on to another topic. At least I'm pretty sure that half of us here, at least, have already know is.
Jimmy hasn't really talked much about.
Yeah.
What
Well,
are you interested in RPGs, Jimmy? Besides Pokemon.
I don't really. Well, yeah, Pokemon. I kind of can play any of the games 8 times through.
Quick favorite one.
It's my favorite series. I think I like the newer ones more though. just because of how streamlined. Well, not streamlined, but how convenient they've made it. Like auto spraying repels and stuff like that in Black and White 2, which
That
is
is
amazing. But I think what I really love about Pokemon is just the team combinations you can make. Like one playthrough, I can use like a Squirtle, a Pidgey, and a Pikachu on my team, and then another one I can use a Bulbasaur, Caterpie, and a Zubat, and I can have a completely different time with the game. It could be even more difficult, or it can be even easier. So I think that's what I like about it.
Well, plus there's the whole kind of, it picks the little OCD part of all of us that just has to literally catch them all.
Definitely.
Even if it's ridiculously hard to do, especially as more games come along.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, I did catch them all once. I think I have a copy of Pokemon or Pokemon Diamond that I was able to get every single one with, and I'm just gonna treasure that and that cartridge forever and make sure it never dies somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, and I like that in Black and White 2, there's actually an incentive to collect all the Pokemon because you get, if you see all the Pokemon in the regional decks, you can get a shiny Haxorus.
Really?
It's a really cool black Haxorus. It's awesome. And then if you see every Pokemon, I think, or if you catch every Unova Pokemon, you get a charm that will increase the speed your eggs hatch. And if you complete the national dex, you get a shiny charm, which makes your odds of catching a shiny Pokemon, I think, 1 in 2,000, which is pretty cool. So.
Comparatively good, yeah.
Yeah, compared to 1 in 8,000, I think.
So what other RPGs have you been interested in, and what's your favorite aspects of an RPG, Jimmy?
I really like the Mario and Luigi series.
Oh, the Superstar Saga. I love those.
Superstar Saga, Partners
like the
in Time.
Spiritual successor to the Mario RPG, yeah.
Yeah. I like those. I just kind of like the atmosphere. They're very funny and lighthearted. And I also like the sort of more active battle system where if you press A at the right time, you'll do more damage and stuff.
Yeah, so
just kind of like those ones.
It's like Super Mario RPG with this battle system, so that's.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't played that, Jimmy, you really should just go play it.
I played quite a bit of it. I actually own it. Well, actually, no, I don't. No, I don't. I thought I did on Virtual Console. I played it at a friend's house, so.
That's one of the few games I own on Virtual Console, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else anyone wants to add?
I could throw things in there. Just.
Yeah. Well, you were saying before, Jesse, about Tales of Fantasia is one of your favorite ones.
Right? Oh, yes.
I was gonna say, so I don't, I don't have a lot of experience with it. I have played a little bit of it because, based completely off of people suggesting that I review it for 16-bit gems a lot.
I would love that.
I will have to do that at some point. Right now, I'm in the middle of this like year-long Dragon Quest review of Palooza. And I'm probably going to take a little break from RPGs for a little while because they just take so long to make videos on. But when I get back into it, there's some I definitely have my eyes on, and Tales of Fantasia is near the top of that list. So.
Yeah, but like I said, it'd be hard to do a 16-bit gem since it also came out on the PlayStation, and that's a superior version.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'll have to mention that, of course.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the PC version of Clock Tower, which is all the more better.
Yeah. So since we're on the topic, anyways, thank you for bringing that back up, Rue. Now. That's probably one of my favorite games since we're on the same topic anyway. Probably Tales of Vesperia and Tales of Graces, and one more, Tales of Symphonia. Also, are really good Tales games, and this one's kind of on the lower bracket. But Tales of the Abyss, I like Tales of the Abyss. The anime was good. I would recommend you check that out if you don't want to play the game. But those games are really good. Like I'm probably the biggest fan of probably Vesperia, because Vesperia has a really good story and it's very in depth, and there's a lot of I don't want to say game changing, but story changing. I don't want to say choices, events. Let's say that actually change your mind about a lot of characters. Like one of the main characters in Tales of Vesperia, he starts out as, he seems like he's the good guy, right? He's out there for justice. He's there to rid the world of everything bad, right? But what it ends up turning out to be, I'm not giving names for a reason. What it turns out to be, though, is that he's only out there to fix what he thinks needs fixed. Meaning he will steal, kill, and cheat to get what he thinks justice is. So,
That
like I
sounds
said,
pretty
it's one of the main
interesting.
characters. It's one of the main
Sounds like a
characters.
pretty nice guy.
Well, he's one of the main characters in the story. So it's one of those things. I mean, I don't think Rue, I don't think you can do Vesperia for your show or anything, but it'd be a really good game to look into.
I do get a lot of suggestions for games that aren't exactly 16-bit, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I have to say,
32-bit
though,
gems.
out of the out of the Tales games, though, I think Vesperia has got to be probably the best, if not one of the, because as you guys keep saying, apparently Fantasia is really good too. But I don't know. I tried to play Fantasia. I just don't. I'm not a fan of that original Tales fighting scheme. I really do not like that.
I love it. I love how it's also 3-player co-op.
Oh yeah, that is pretty cool actually.
It's kind of like Secret of Mana, which is awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah.
And if you haven't checked out the co-op Let's Play I'm doing with Kiara the Hedgehog on that, we will get back on it soon. But for now, if I'm plugging this in because it's a blast doing it. We have 6 parts up. Whatever.
mindless
It'll be
self
done
promotion.
eventually.
Mindless self promotion.
As far as more obscure RPGs, what ones would you guys recommend that you would, if you had to guess, most people have never heard of?
Ooh, okay. Let's see here. I know this is not technically a like a legit game. It's more of like an entire remake. It's based on Earthbound, but it's also Toho related.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what that is, Toho.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
Yeah, Toho Mother.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's well written. It's any Earthbound or Toho fan or both would just kill over it. It's awesome.
One that I really enjoyed as a kid, and if you watch, I might be giving things away coming up for 16-bit gems, but if you watch any number of episodes from 16-bit gems, which I do, you'll notice I talk a lot about this one development house in Japan called Quintet, which a lot of games were published under Enix, in America at least. I think probably worldwide. But
did they merge with Square?
Yes. They merged with Squaresoft.
Okay, that's exactly why I okay. All right, continue. My bad. I had to cut you off there because that sounded familiar.
But but Quintet is like this, like really, they made a bunch of great games in the 90s, and then they kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. And as far as I can find, no one's sure exactly what happened to them. But they made some great games like ActRaiser and the Gaia trilogy, like Illusion of Gaia and Terranigma and Soul Blazer. But one of their games that they made, it's one of the very few games I haven't talked about yet, actually, on 16-bit Gem, is called Robotech, which is this. It's a pretty standard type of RPG. It's like menu driven and a lot of text and things like that. But basically, you're an inventor, and there's a lot of customization. It's not. It reminds me a little bit of Pokemon just because it's somewhat customizable. But you basically build a robot and you add different attacks depending on what kind of parts he has and things like that. It's a Robo, which is like a robot Trek, basically. And the story's nothing special. The music's okay; it's pretty good. But the gameplay and the customizability of being able to basically like build your fighting robots, it reminds me of like BattleBots or something like that. But I always thought it was pretty clever, and I really enjoyed that game when I was a kid. And I have actually gotten some people recommending or that I do an episode on that. So I know that there are a few other people out there that know what I'm talking about, but I have a feeling most people kind of passed it over if they were alive back then.
Yeah.
Now,
It was for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, just a really quick note here. Does that game have any relation to Custom Robo for the GameCube?
I love
don't
Custom
believe so.
Robo.
Because that sounds oddly familiar. I mean, that's why that's kind of why, because I don't know if that's very unknown. Like, that's one of the things that I really loved when I was just in the GameCube gen was Custom Robo. I loved that game because of how like the story was really good actually for a thing where you have to customize your robot. The story was good. I can't say much about there was no voice acting, so there's no even rating on that. But the story was good. The gameplay was really good. It was basically an arena. It's kind of like an arena fight. Every time you go to fight with your robot that you made, it was basically they would warp you into an arena. It would count down, and then you'd come out of the launcher things. I don't remember what they were called, but then you'd fight it out, and then whoever lost obviously lost. And the story was really good in the end of that game too. It was difficult. The game was difficult. They didn't skip out in the difficulty in that game, but it was really good in general.
What I liked about that game, Custom Robo, is that there were illegal weapons, like weapons you could unlock but you couldn't use in tournaments. You can only use them in multiplayer, and those are the most fun to play with because they were so cheap.
Like, I know there was like rocket launchers that would fire like 4 rockets at the same time.
Yeah, the dragon guns were my favorites. The ones that would just shoot dragon heads.
And wasn't there like a flamethrower too that was illegal? It was like
Yeah.
ridiculously overpowered.
Oh my god, it was. But it was fun.
Yeah, so that's probably I don't know if that game's that popular. Like, I know that very few people know it, but
I don't know. I don't think it's very popular. I do know of it. But
and they made the sequel for the DS, which is close. It's almost as good as the GameCube version.
Because I loved Custom Robo when I first bought it. I actually had rented it, honestly, and then I was like, I went to look out for the thing and there was nothing. I was like, well, that sucks. And then probably, I don't know, 2 years ago maybe, I happened to go to EB Games and I just had some credit, and it was like, oh well, there's that shit. I'm picking that up right now because I knew I liked it.
Well, we can move on to another topic if you want another quick topic. If no one else has anything else to say. But I have one RPG to mention left. Yume Nikki. It's a indie developed Japanese indie RPG. It's mostly an exploration where you collect power-ups in this little girl's dreams. And there's a total of 24 power-ups. You explore through all these crazy different worlds. This game is so well known in the indie community that it's so well known that it's not well known at all. It's so ironic that the game has so many fan games, like games that have the same general gameplay but have completely different stories. There are so many different fan games. I think I've downloaded about 50.
That's a ridiculous number. That's a ridiculous number.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Like, honestly,
you really enjoy this.
Yeah, a lot of people enjoyed this game because all you could do is theorize. Is that how you say it? Like theory,
yes.
theorize. Yeah. Like, all you could do is theorize what the story behind the little girl is. You don't know anything. There's no text in it, except for when you get a power up, and it's like, you get whatever power. And the ending will just blow you away. It's just so shocking. It was like, what is the story of this girl? There's so many theories on the internet about what the story of the girl is. Her name is Marotsuki. And the game is completely free to download. And it's completely in English now.
I'll have to look into this.
And I recommend going to uboachan.net to download it. uboachan.net. I'll type it in the chat so it's there for later.
For the lazy.
But now I'm done. So if anyone, I mistyped it.
Uboa chat.
Okay, so but anyway, as Jesse was saying, Jimmy, do you have anything left? Just because we've been talking this whole time and you just kind of sitting there doing nothing.
Not really, just because RPGs aren't really my. I'm not gonna say I don't like them. I just don't play them very much, just because I don't really have time.
Well, I totally feel you there.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to at least mention Final Fantasy in some manner.
Yeah, I guess you're right. We kind of do.
It's like contractually obligated.
Final Fantasy 9 is my favorite. Enough said.
That's a very solid game, I'll say.
Final Fantasy 10.
That I think is better. I think that was the last great Final Fantasy.
Agreed.
And mostly because of the again, I was saying before, one of the most important things to me in an RPG is the gameplay system. And I think 10 had a very good gameplay system. It had that nice mix of customizability.
Customization?
Or customization is probably a better word. But yes, customizability. I don't think that. Anyway.
Well, customization.
Yes. Because like, for example, in Final Fantasy, it's not like Final Fantasy 5 where or Final Fantasy 1 where you basically have blank slates and you give people jobs and, the characters don't really matter all that much. They might as well just be they could be a white cutout, whereas in Final Fantasy 10, you in theory could have you could go all across the sphere grid and during leveling up and make anybody anything you want, but certain characters are more predisposed depending on where they're towards certain jobs, if you want to call them that, depending on where they are on the sphere grid. For example, if you could make Lulu a white mage if you want, but it's much easier to just make her a black mage.
And she's probably the most specialized to be there because of her where she's placed in the sphere grid. Like
exactly.
And then what they did with the sphere grid was really interesting though, is that they didn't let you have free reign on the sphere grid. You had to find key spheres to unlock the other trees. So I mean, that's just I always thought that was kind of a good thing. They didn't let you just I'm going to go this way in the tree now. No. You have to find these first, then you can go over there. So,
yeah, and also in addition to that, I really liked how this was the only Final Fantasy where you really had access to all your characters at the same time. Like you didn't have all your characters in the party. Well, I mean, assuming you had a party of more than 4 or 5. But like in Final Fantasy 6 or 7 or 8, you have your party and then you have everyone else in your party who doesn't fight for some reason. But in Final Fantasy 10, you can swap people in or out. So like if you start a battle and you're like, oh man, I could really use some fire magic, but Lulu's not active in the party, you can swap her out. And I thought it's like, finally, why did it take so long for Final Fantasy to give me the option to switch these people out pretty much at will?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, plus, that was probably one of the greatest mechanics they added in 10 was the ability to swap out characters because like some of the bosses in that game, like some of the bosses you'd be like, oh yes, I got my 3 strongest characters out right now, let's go. It's like, oh, I'm gonna hit them for 1 damage with my strongest character. It's like, what? Come on. Like the one boss, you couldn't touch it unless you used magic.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I remember that.
I don't remember the name. I'm not gonna try. But you couldn't hit it unless you used magic. And I'm one of those people who uses Waka, Titus, and Orin. So I have no magic.
I love
Waka. At that point, Because at that point I was like, oh well, that's that. So let's see if we could beat this with switching back and forth, and it ended up working. But it was a pain in the ass.
Oh, I bet.
Waka is my favorite Final Fantasy X character, and his character in Kingdom Hearts was. We did not mention Kingdom Hearts at all. Holy crap!
That just went straight past us. But we're still on Final Fantasy right now. But
so many RPGs we haven't mentioned, but we don't have time for them all.
this is true.
Yes. Well, I will finish up by saying though that I think Final Fantasy X. It's not my favorite Final Fantasy. That would be 6, but I think it's the last great Final Fantasy game, and yeah, it's got some goofy story elements, and some of the voice acting is funny for unintended reasons, but
Yes.
But the gameplay is very solid. The music is, I think, Nobuo Uematsu's last,
Of course.
like, hurrah.
Yeah, it was his last project.
So like the Xanarkand theme, if you will, is just hauntingly beautiful, and
I love Xanarkand.
I think it's a great game. So
the story wasn't all that bad, minus the parts that you said earlier.
It's just a little goofy in certain parts, yeah.
Like besides that, though, if you look past those stupid parts and you look at the story as a whole, of how the whole thing comes together, how it all comes full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Like how, no spoilers. Like how one of the party members ends up actually being dead in the past life. I'm not saying which one in specific, but I'm pretty sure most people have played the game. But how he ends up
10 years,
Yeah, I'm probably pretty sure I can probably give out stuff. But if in case you haven't, but yeah, he died in the past life and came back to help. I mean, it's because he was never quote unquote sent.
Oh right.
So, yeah, I think you know who I'm talking about now.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So that's all I've done that then.
32 minutes in. Do you we usually end the podcast at the 30-minute mark, but I'm really getting into this. Do we want to continue or do we want to end it here?
However you feel.
Because Jimmy, if I'm not wrong, you have to be somewhere.
I have some things to do, but I can stick around for a few more minutes. So.
Are there any other RPGs that you've played, Jimmy?
I've kind of just like played a few more. I've played a little bit of Final Fantasy VII. I own 7, 8, and 9.
Yes, play 9, Jimmy. You will love it.
I definitely want to play them soon. I just really haven't had the time. I've played quite a bit of the first Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. I tried to start Kingdom Hearts 2, and it was getting a little convoluted for me.
I beat it completely.
Got a few hours into the first Kingdom Hearts, and I really liked it. I liked the I liked the art style of it. I liked the music. I liked the combat of it. But after a while, I didn't lose interest, but I just sort of got sidetracked, and then I'm afraid to go back to it now. So that's usually what happens to me with most games, and especially RPGs. So
that's exactly the same thing for me.
I completed Kingdom Hearts 2. Like, there's nothing for me to do in it anymore. I have the perfect armor set to beat Sephiroth every time. It's like fighting the first boss all over again. I literally cannot do much more in that game, except fight Sephiroth over and over again, because that's the greatest challenge in that game.
Because he's overpowered as garbage in that game.
Well, now I'm more powerful than him. I can beat him whenever I want.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, no, but that series is also one that, honestly, I'm gonna say this now. I hated it before I actually played it. That's something that I probably shouldn't have made the mistake of.
It's the Disney characters. That's what I was like when I was a kid.
Yes.
Like, oh, it has Disney characters in it. This would be look for freaking little kids. We got the first one when we bought our first PS2 when we were little. Mm-hmm. And my brother was freaking out about it. And I was like, ew, Disney characters, what is this? Then then my brother made me sit down in front of the screen and play it, and I was like, oh my God.
That was my original thought also, is that it's because of the Disney characters I avoided it originally. Like, I don't know, just that look of having those characters in a serious game just really puts me off until you actually play it. But you have to play it to understand it, and for it to really, for it to really click, if you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't make sense unless you play it. It's just how it is. It's a very
It's actually quite dark. It's actually quite dark.
Yeah, that too.
You see Mickey's dark side in the game, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah,
it's a sharp contrast from Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and then you see Mickey wielding a weapon,
and he's being a badass.
I think that, and I know it's not an RPG, but I think that, or I'm pretty sure it's not. I haven't played it, but I think Kingdom Hearts paved the way for stuff like Epic Mickey. You know, to take chances with the character that's been around for like 80 years.
And unlike most people, I loved Epic Mickey, and I really want to play the sequel. I want to get.
I've heard good things.
I want to get it for the Wii U. Mostly.
I heard the Wii U version's the worst in terms of like. Well, I don't really know. I've just been reading random tweets.
And that's what I heard about Batman Arkham City Arkham Edition because of the frame rate. Hopefully they're fixing that. Which they probably could with a software update or something like that. It's just that people. Well, that's another topic for another day. I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, no. Let's stop there. Let's go back to what we were doing. I'm just going to say this, and both of us, I'm pretty sure all of us can agree, the Kingdom Hearts story is confusing as balls.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm going to say that now because it is. It just is.
But it's so good. But it's so good.
That's how the series was made, though.
Because unfortunately, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say they built that series on the confusion. That's the thing though, is that they used the confusion to release other games. Like, for example.
So they could put it together piece by piece, like 358 over 2. Yes. That was a great game. I was so addicted to that game that I beat the entire thing in Japanese. I didn't understand a single word of the plot. I just beat it. And then I got the English version. I bought it, and then I was like, oh, that's what they were saying.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, but I was gonna say like the links that they made. For example, I'm gonna say try and stay before Kingdom Hearts 2 here because I understand most of the lore before Kingdom Hearts 2 right now. The link between Birth by Sleep and Kingdom Hearts 1 was very, very evident to me when I played both games and realized that some characters are specific characters in the other games and that there was actually some chaotic past to this magical weapon that Sora ends up getting. I thought it was a really good story. Like, this is before Kingdom Hearts 2, though. So
yeah, Birth by Sleep, are you talking about?
Yes, Birth by Sleep, how the history of the Keyblade, Keyblade, is very chaotic. It wasn't always a peaceful weapon, as Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts makes it seem, because only one person has it.
I just love how they come up with these holes in the story, so many holes in the story, just to make more games filling those holes, and all the games are good.
Yeah, and people say they're just cash-ins, but I disagree because
it's a wonderful technique just to make holes in the story to create more games to fill in those holes. It's a perfect technique to release more games.
It's pretty clever instead of just adding it on completely.
Exactly. Like, I mean, it's the same with what is it? I think it's between Kingdom Chain of Memories and Kingdom Hearts 2. 358.5 days takes place.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they made the link there of how Roxas became to be the first character you played as in Kingdom Hearts 2. Like, they fixed links that they meant to leave open. And I think that's really, very interesting on their part. And most people consider it just a cash grab. I beg to differ.
Those people think that because they haven't played the series at all.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But
most of all, IGN said that, and IGN is crap.
Oh well. Yeah, that's just what I've heard, and that's what floats around the internet all the time is that because they keep making prequels instead of sequels. Like we've been waiting a long time for Kingdom Hearts 3. I even know that, even though I only got into the series after it was already pretty well complete, I guess you could say. But the thing is, apparently, like I said, it's a really long wait between Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3 because of all the extra prequels and extras that they put in. But I don't really mind because they put interesting stories in between.
Mm-hmm. Which is why
Like,
people are having trouble fitting Dream Drop Distance within the timeline. People aren't having trouble with that
well,
because it's so different.
yes, it is different. I'll agree with that. Like, I don't actually know where it fits in the timeline yet, but I think it's the link between 2 and 3.
I really do think so, honestly.
I think it's going to be the link between 2 and 3 because there's not many places that game can fit, knowing all the adjustments to the combat and how the new not the new Heartless, but the Dream Eaters exist now instead of Heartless.
And
Like,
there's
I'm
the
pretty sure
Heartless, the Nobodies, and the Dream Eaters now.
yes, and then that's going to be Kingdom Hearts 3 in a nutshell. Basically, is you're going to be fighting against all three this time. So
Could be.
it's a possibility. Like I can see that going that way because it only makes sense, really, because they're still the Dream Eaters are still anti-heroes, no matter how you look at it, and the Heartless are always going to exist, and the Nobodies are always going to exist as long as there's Heartless.
Mm-hmm. So it all perfectly fits together.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
JRPGs are masterpieces. That's all I have to say at the end of that matter.
yeah, okay, we'll get off that.
So does anyone else want to say anything else before we shove off?
I like JRPGs. Well, RPGs in general, and video games. Video games are fun.
Video
Video
games.
are great.
Yep.
We all love video games. If you haven't gotten the idea from the title of the podcast, the G.Gurus. You know what the G stands for?
Game.
Yeah, pretty much.
I thought it
All
stood
ga-
for grapes. Dang it.
Grapes.
God.
I love grapes.
The wrong group again.
Ah, dang.
All games except for Sonic 06.
Oh.
Oh,
I had to bring that up, Jimmy. I'm
I
sorry.
don't
the
like
game
it
that
at all.
made Jimmy's eyes swell up so bad it made him
Oh,
fall down the
yeah.
stairs.
The fake blood.
Let's not go into Sonic 06. Anyways,
Let's not gross out our viewers with allergic reactions.
Let's,
Okay.
yeah, let's not do
Okay.
that.
Close this off, Jesse.
All right, so we'd love to thank you all for watching, and a really big thank you to Rue for being our guest. I mean,
Hey, thank you very much for having me again. It was fun.
I honestly didn't expect you would agree so fast. I mean, like, I just found out about you when Mark just spammed me like, "Hey, it's Earthbound, watch it." And I'm like, "Ooh, it's Earthbound, I'm gonna watch it." And then I found out about you, and I'm like, "You should be in the podcast." And you're like, "Okay."
We didn't even
Instant.
talk about Earthbound. Earthbound, play it if you haven't.
Yes, Earthbound, play it.
Do
This
it
means
now.
this means you, Jimmy.
Yes,
Yes, I
yes, you, Jimmy. Even if you have to buy a cart, which is like $250, just
Oh,
just
God,
get
it's
it.
getting ridiculous. But yes,
I know.
Just go to a flea market or something. That's
I'm
a
actually
place where you can
surprised
get
I
them.
haven't played it yet, and I'm ashamed of myself for not. So
Oh, it's so good.
Or I haven't played Earthbound either, so don't worry.
Like,
okay.
the
Give it-
best place to get a cart is a flea market or a garage sale because people don't
Mhm.
know the actual value, and then you get it up for like dirt cheap, and then you just go home screaming like a little schoolgirl that you got a copy of Earthbound for only 50 cents.
You're so
Yeah,
happy
you're-
that you do like the cartoon jump in the air and clap your feet together, kind of skipping.
And then you drop the cartridge and it breaks in half.
Okay, continue anyways, Jesse.
Okay, and we like to thank everybody for showing up. There's Jimmy. There's no fan for the
wow.
win. Been with us for the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and
Missed a few podcasts, but
just a few podcasts. All right, and then there's Jordan Grave Kid, who's been a big support to the group as well.
Yeah, well, I've been here for a lot of the podcasts, and just started to channel off that. So
We'd like to thank you for watching, and we will see you next episode of the G.Gurus podcast. Earthbound, play it.
Okay.